Now the latest from the Scottsbluff Body and Paint Sports Desk. Scottsbluff Body and Paint, you're driving home our reputation.
I'm Jayson Jorgensen. It is once again time for Husker Chat, brought to you by Acres Equipment. We are joined by Sean Callahan of Husker Online. Huge game for the Huskers this week on the road at undefeated Indiana. Sean, first off, how did the bye week treat you? Were you able to get better in the bye week?
It was still fairly normal for us. I mean, I still had 4 shows I did, and we had our 1 day of access to Matt Rule. I mean, so the biggest difference was we didn't talk to players this last week, and we didn't have a game. So was able to slip down to Kansas City and get down there Saturday, and I came back Sunday and just kind of relaxed, let my wife shop and got some barbecue and came back on Sunday. So bye weeks are always fun. And, this is one of those years you get 2 bye weeks because of the 14 Saturday schedule between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. So we'll get another bye week here in 3 weeks, which doesn't always happen, obviously, in college football.
All right, let's talk about the Huskers. They feel they did get better in the bye week. Where do you feel this team is at going into this big game in Indiana?
Well, I think just getting Jamari Butler on the defensive line, getting him healthy in another week, I think will go a long way. Just getting special teams tuned up and cleaned up and some of the things that need addressed, that's been big. I think for Dylan Raiola, a chance to look at the first 6 games, look at what Rutgers did and evaluate those things. Then Tommy Hill in the secondary, his foot injury, I think he's expected to play this week. We'll see, though, how he goes through warmups and how that feels. Tristan Alvano has started to kick again. I just don't know if we'll see him play yet, but we'll see if he even travels at this point because they are limited to 74 players. And the last road game at Purdue, he didn't even travel. So that will be a telling point. If he travels, he obviously can play.
We've talked at length about this, and others have talked about it too, the issues with the special teams. Where do you think they start to get this corrected so it's not such a hindrance for them?
Well, the biggest thing is recognizing what they're seeing. And, Rutgers was bringing, 10 people at Nebraska, and Nebraska only had 8 blocking. So just from a simple numbers perspective, they had 2 guys that were coming in untouched. And Matt Rule said, he goes, I wish I would have called the fake punt right away. And then they wouldn't have rushed us like that, the other punts throughout the game. So it is recognizing some of those things too. Because if you let a Division I athlete that runs 4.4, 4.5 come free untouched, they are going to block the punt. It doesn't matter how fast your snapper is. You've got to at least get a body on a body. So some of it is that. Some of it still is the snapping issues. And that leads to holding issues and kicking issues down the line. So the wind was crazy in that game as well. And I think Nebraska actually used that last week against Rutgers to their advantage, where they were able to pin Rutgers back a few times, where Rutgers did not take advantage of the wind, putting the ball through the end zone when they punted towards that north end, the south end, where they came up empty on those same punts.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. Huge game for the Huskers on the road at Indiana. I remember back in the summer listening to the Big Ten Media Days, new Indiana head coach Curt Cignetti. He's a very confident guy. He has won at every level he's been at, and his first couple of months in Indiana have been fantastic.
Jayson, what he said is, I win a lot. Google,
Yeah.
I win. And, that's kind of his legendary, Scott Frost kind of came in the Big Ten and tried that approach where he said, you better get us now because we're going to get pretty good. And that obviously didn't turn out. But Cignetti, at least at this point, 6-0. Look, they've been favored in all 6 games. They've won all 6 games. They have the easiest strength of schedule of any Power 4 team in America. So they've taken care of business. They've got a lot of swagger. They've got a lot of confidence. He's done his job to this point. Now they're going to see some tougher opponents, and they have expectations. There's not been a lot of players that have had expectations in that program. He's got a lot of James Madison players, though, that came with him. About half the starters total are James Madison players on the offense, defense. And a lot of the defense came over. A lot of the key players that have made plays for them on the defense were former James Madison players. So I think they've been able to bring a lot of continuity with them. Cignetti is a winner. He started out as an assistant coach for Nick Saban in Alabama in 07 to 10. He was a receivers coach before he kind of went on the small school coaching path and got to where he's at right now.
Talk to me about their quarterback, Kurtis Rourke. He's been very, very good. It probably wasn't a lot of, hype when they brought him in from Ohio in the offseason, but this guy's been very efficient.
Well, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC conference. Coincidentally, he was a Frank Solich recruit. Frank Solich recruited him and his brother. They were from Canada, and so they were an unorthodox set of brothers that went to play for Frank in Athens. And over this final season, he made the decision to transfer and go play for Indiana, and it's worked out. I mean, I think when you talk about the transfer portal, stories like this are what it's all about. Where a guy like Rourke, who has done about all he could do at Ohio, gets an opportunity in the big leagues and can kind of prove what he can do. And he's proven it thus far in every which way. And he's got leadership and experience, and he's big. He's 6'5", probably 215, 220. He will not just go down easily in this game in the pocket.
All right. How do you see this one shaping up on Saturday? Of course, the special teams key for the Huskers because you have to figure this thing's probably close.
Yeah. I mean, I think Nebraska can win this game, and they're under. It's about a touchdown or less on the spread. I'm picking Nebraska to win. I don't have my exact score right now, but I just think the underdog mentality, the lack of line of scrimmage that Indiana has seen, Nebraska can really go at them with their play up front in this game. And Dylan Raiola, it's going to be a nice, crisp fall Saturday. We're not going to be playing in Hurricane Nebraska like we saw 2 weeks ago, where the wind was swirling around Lincoln in all which directions. It's going to be a little bit different, which I think will help Dylan Raiola in that Husker passing offense.
All right. Well, hey, as always, we appreciate your insights. Have a good, safe trip to Bloomington. It's got to be kind of cool to go on the road. This big game, national audience, a chance for the Huskers.
Just my second trip there in the 14 years Nebraska's been in the conference.
All right. Have a good one, Sean.
Thanks, Jayson.
And that was Sean Callahan of Husker Online joining us for Husker Chat. Once again, Sean is with us every week, and it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.